Hey, listen up. We got another episode of Wisecracks featuring the Krack Man himself, Bill Krackenberger, and our co-host, Jon Orlando, straight from Las Vegas. Wisecracks is your ticket inside the world of sports betting with tips, picks, special guests, and more. Only on WSN.com.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back for another round. I'm Jon Orlando, and this is Wisecracks, and we will be taking another deep dive into the world of sports betting this week with the man himself, Bill Krackenberger. What's up, my man?
Yo, what's going on, buddy? Everything all right? We had a little crazy week this week. Lots of action and across the board, really. Week 9 in the NFL, the election. By the way, the election not being official yet in betting markets, so we got a lot of crazy things going on. So good to see you, though, John.
Yeah, you too, man. I can't believe it's already November and the playoffs are right around the corner.
Yeah, they are around the corner, and I love watching NFL playoff football. It's funny. I really don't watch a lot of games, but I do like to watch, when it counts, when they're going all at it. So, and you could feel it in the air, the change of weather. Here in Vegas, we went from like 85 degrees. The next day, it was a high of 60. I mean, we dropped 25 degrees in one day. So It's almost like it was back east when, I lived back east, and I know you've lived all over the country too. You could feel it in the air, and football's in the air. You could feel it outside right now.
It's so true. So true. Krack, tell me this, as we're getting deeper into the football season now, and you're able to see how things are shaking out, does that influence the amount of money that you're going to be betting week to week? Do you go heavier now that you maybe have a better read on things?
Actually, no, quite opposite. It's earlier in the season when someone like myself will know a little bit more than the actual originating bookmaker, where I'll actually bet more, especially this particular season where we had no preseason in the NFL. So we're actually looking to bet more in the beginning of the season. As the season goes on, the media and of course reporters and TV and everyone, they know more. So the more they know, the worse it is for a guy like me. I need him to know little and me to know the extra stuff that they don't know. That's what everyone talks about now on TV is, ESPN's all the NFL, of course, college football too. But now, look, don't forget, at the beginning, there wasn't a lot of college football. Now there's a lot. So we're talking about a mixture of everything, but there's a lot more information out there knowing what they know now. So for me, I actually bet a little bit less as the season progresses and wait for college basketball and try to strike right when right at the beginning of that season too.
Got it. So, Bill, I'd love to talk about this. My last little week in sports. I was kind of hot last weekend, but I'm going to need you to kind of be my psychologist while I lay on the couch for a minute, if you wouldn't mind. Can I tell you what went on this past weekend for me?
Of course.
So let's start with I had a little bit of a meltdown here this weekend. I was on fire and I didn't really make any money. So yeah, I know. Bill, on the UFC just had a major fight this past weekend. I was 7 out of 8. I picked 7 out of 8, including Bill, about 5 minutes before the co-main and main event started. I got in my car. So I originally had picked both favorites in the main and the co-main and the main event. For some reason, like a bolt of lightning, it just hit me. Because I was already now at that point 5 out of 6.
Right.
And I thought, oh, you know what? I have it wrong. The two underdogs, the two least likely fighters, they were both well over 40 years old in the co-main and main. You had Arlovsky in the co-main, 40-something years old, I believe. He's been a fighter for a very long time. And then in the main event, you had Glover Teixeira, who I believe is 46 or 7 years old and still competing at a high level in the UFC. He was on like a 5-fight win streak. And I thought, oh my God, they're both going to win. It's an all-dog co-main and main parlay. Bill, I jumped in my car. I drove across the street because I live close to a casino. True story. And I threw down a co-main and main event parlay with the two dogs, and they both ended up winning. I ended up being right, and I cashed on that one.
How did you win a ton of money here? Wait a minute. I'm missing something.
So that was Saturday night, right? So then Sunday for football, of course, I gave out my picks last week. I gave what did I give out? I gave Raiders money line. I gave Chiefs money line. And I said for my street cred pick, I'm taking the Saints to go over there and whip up on Tom Brady. Remember?
Yes, of course.
And so I thought, well,
amazing.
I went all in on that because I believed I had that parlay so right on the money. Okay. So I go on early Sunday morning to cash the UFC ticket and to bet on the NFL games. And for whatever reason, at the window, instead of just doing what I gave out as my picks, instead of just following the plan, I threw in one more team into my parlay, convinced that this was going to be the biggest week I've ever had in sports. And I'm afraid to tell you what team I threw in there because you might fire me on this one, Bill.
Who might. Go ahead, tell me.
I was convinced that the Denver Broncos were going to be victorious.
Wow. Okay. So you really threw a curveball in there. Yeah. Wow.
No money. 7 out of 8 UFC. 3 out of 3 just off the teams that I picked on the show. And oh wait, I forgot on Saturday afternoon, the reason why I went so heavy on UFC Saturday afternoon, I got to pick the Breeders' Cup right. I had Authentic who won the Kentucky Derby. I picked Authentic and I hit the exacta with Improbable 9-8, which also happens to be my birthday. So I have a special affection to 9-8. I'm a September 8th baby. So whenever a 9-8 exacta looks like it could hit, I like to bet on it. So yeah, I was on fire all weekend and it translated when it was all said and done. I think I won a couple of $100.
Wow. This would have been a 6-figure weekend for me. Yeah. Listen, can I ask you, did you have fun?
I did, but I kick myself.
Fun is the money in your pocket. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's just because to get all, and what made it worse, Bill, was people were DMing me, thanking me for giving, because I put all the picks up. You know, I posted on every, so I had so many people sliding in my DMs. Oh my God, bro, thanks a lot. Da, 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 da. Yeah, man. Bad.
So they all won more money than you won, obviously.
100%.
Wow. See that parlays, man. I know they're fun to bet, and once in a while when they hit, they're a big payout. But you know, if you bet the same amount that you bet on the parlay or on straight bets here, you would have, wound up, thousands of dollars ahead. So
yeah. Speaking of parlays, while you were just talking to me, I pulled this up. I don't know if I'm sure you saw and heard about this. I'm going to hold it up to the camera. This guy hit a parlay at the Venetian. I don't know if you guys can read that or not.
Oh yeah, we see it.
7-team parlay. He bet $4,000. It returned. I don't have glasses on, so it's small, but something like $460,000 off a 7-team parlay. It had 2 dogs, one 12-1, one 5-1. The rest were big favorites. So moving on, I'm glad you let me air out my sins from the weekend. The Saints did embarrass the Bucs on Sunday night. I got some street cred on that one, huh?
Yes, that was listen. It was real embarrassing. They kept on going to Brady on the bench, showing him. I don't know if they were trying to embarrass him or something, but I mean, here's a guy that can't be embarrassed, by the way, and for his past career. But yeah, listen, that was what we call a cigar game or a rocking chair game. You sit back in the chair, smoking your cigar, and life is good. Everything's great. This is easy money. So good job.
And we also got the Masters coming up this weekend. You've had some success betting in golf. I just was made aware of that year to date. Correct me if I'm wrong. On the Krack Wins app, you are 64-37, which adds up to a total of plus 39 units for sports bettors.
Yes.
How are you so you're the golf guru? How did this happen?
Great golf information. I have some great sources for golf information. Not only talking to caddies and stuff, but also some great. We really have some great information at our fingertips that I can't give away, but it really is an amazing sport for me over the years. It's hard to believe. People don't even know you can bet on golf. So it's actually hard to believe that you could win money betting. And it's matchup versus matchup. So it's not winning the futures. It's not betting DeChambeau to win the tournament, which is, by the way, that's a lot of juice involved in that. They usually take 20, 30, 40, even 50% out of the pool. I'm betting a straight matchup, golfer versus golfer. Who's going to finish better at the end of 4 days of golf? who's going to finish better after 72 holes. That's where the money is, and that's how come I've made the money I've made in golf bets.
And coming up a little later in the show, we've got a great golf guest. I don't know if you want to divulge the name of the guest yet, but we do have an incredible golf-related guest coming up a little later.
Yeah, we have a fantastic guy, friend of mine for years, PGA professional caddy, Cayce Kerr, who, like I said earlier, we had him on an earlier show too. This guy is just special. He's the greatest talker. He could just talk through everything. He's loved by many other players on the tour. He knows everybody. And every year he gives me, these lanyards to come down to the Masters and Hilton Head and all the, follow the PGA Tour around. So look forward to having him on.
Well, Krack, I can't wait to hear what he has to say. And I want to remind everybody at home, hey guys, before you place your bets this weekend, be sure to head over to WSN.com. It's got all the information that you need, bonuses at the different books, latest news and stuff on all the sports you're going to be betting on. Head on over to WSN.com. It's the sharp move.
Yeah, good. That's good that you mentioned that, because I don't know another website that has the articles that WSN has. I mean, they have so many informative articles on all things across all sports betting platforms, but also my favorite part, the bonuses platform, where you can go by state and you could see how much bonus money you can get by signing up to the sports books. And there's articles on everything like that, including the booster bets and stuff. Really good, really informative. Make sure you check out WSN.
And while you're checking out WSN after that, Krack, I know you don't like when I do this, but I got to remind everybody at home, download the Krack Wins app. Krack, the Krack Wins app, I've turned so many of my friends onto it. I've got people sliding into my DMs, longtime friends of mine that have been avid sports bettors, and your app has changed the game for them. These went from losing players. If I should be so lucky to follow all of the advice of the Krack Wins app, but I keep going rogue for some reason. But I've got tons of friends that I look like the hero to, all thanks to you for turning them onto your app. So be sure to download the Krack Wins app. It's on Apple. It's on Google Play. Check it out.
Oh yeah, no, I appreciate it. It's free to download. It's free to sign up. Get some information out of us here. There's great articles too on bankroll management. I write articles on almost anything that can try to smarten up the sports bettors and try to take some of the sportsbook money. Of course, we also have our selections on there, which I'm very proud to say. We're very transparent. We have a write-up every week. I'm not one of these guys that talk about what they have done lately, what I've done last weekend, what I've done the last month. I have literally every week. It's just, we talk about anything that happened. We have a losing week, I'll talk about it. We have a losing month, I'll talk about it. Very rare. I think I had 2 losing months in the past 16. And of course, never a losing quarter, never a losing year. Listen, you're getting the information that the sharpest guys in the world would love to have. So enjoy that. And thanks for the plug.
Yeah. And, to your point, what I love about that app is that you take it to the next level that a lot of the other guys that do what you do. I mean, nobody does what you do specifically, but your quote unquote competition, they don't give a lot of the stuff away for free like you do. And that's what I think makes the Krack Wins app so great.
Yeah. No,
we wanted to add that.
We appreciate it. No, there's a lot of good free information. I try to make sure the people know the value of the number in the NFL, what it is to buy points and what you should do, what you shouldn't do, parlays, teasers, what's the sucker bets and what are the sharp type of bets. And again, they're just free to read about right on the app. Thanks.
Well, Krack, it's that time in the spirit of the Masters this weekend. Thanks to you, you wrangled I'm going to call him a golf world legend. And we sat down with him a little earlier today, and here's how it went.
Welcome to the 84th Masters, a tradition like no other. For all you golf fans that may not know, we have PGA professional caddy Cayce Kerr with us today. 35 years, by the way, he has caddied on the PGA Tour. Let us give you a brief rundown of a few of his career highlights. Cayce has caddied in over 1,000 tournaments, 100 majors, 30 Masters in a row, 14 players that have won majors he has caddied for, 9 that are in the Hall of Fame, 7 past Masters champions, 5 former number 1 players in the world. The list goes on and on. Cayce, welcome to the show. I want to know this now, after giving you that great, spectacular introduction. What does it feel like to be in Augusta, in November. And what are your thoughts on the venue this year?
Well, thank you, Krack. It feels good to be here. It is quiet here. And so it's a little bit peculiar driving down Washington Road and not sitting in traffic, seeing people walking down the street. The other thing I miss is, that guy that walks down the street, he's got his fingers like that. He need 2 tickets.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The scalpers and he needs 2 tickets, but he's only going to resell them after you sell them to him. Yeah, I know all those.
and then, the people that are selling, the lanyards, and they're selling everything. And this week, they're not selling anything.
Wow. What a difference.
So, the other hype too is if you're a player, like other sports, basketball, football, baseball, when you get to the stadium, you see all the fans, you start to get all jacked up and you're like, okay, here we go. And then you drive in and they all have their different entrances and to the locker room. And, if I'm a player driving in, it's like, I feel like I'm driving into Augusta Country Club just for an afternoon tea time. It doesn't feel like the Mariners.
Wow. Yeah. Big difference this time around. And but once it comes on TV and they start showing some pictures of the course, the golfers, we'll get back into the swing of things. But I know it can never be like it is during April. So
yeah, I mean, let's face it. I was thinking about this the other day. The members of Augusta, the tradition that it has, and how it's improved year after year after year. I mean, there's a reason this tournament's in April. I mean, that is the peak of the year for that venue. So obviously nothing's going to be the same. But look, they're having the tournament. Somebody's going to slip on the green jacket on Sunday, and somebody's going to be happy for about 142 days. Because like I mentioned to you before, you're not going to be the reigning champion very long this year because, 4 months from now, we got another Masters coming up. So the winner of this venue, he's not going to be able to cherish it for the whole year before you have to go there and play again. And not that he'll matter. They're just happy to have the jacket on.
Hey, something, Cayce? I forgot to tell the audience this part. Very important. I have to let them know. You have given me, by the way, on national show that I had, you have given me and all the viewers and listeners some unbelievable information. Last time the Masters was around, of course, you gave like 3 or 4 golfers, and then at the end you said, you know what? You got to remember Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods is like 15-1 here. Do not throw him out of the pack here. And sure enough, that one. But the big one was the former British Open, which is now called the Open. You gave us, again, 3 or 4 golfers. And in that field, the last golfer you gave us was Shane Lowry. And I said he's 80-1 where I was at the time at the South Point. He was 100-1 at another casino in town. And sure enough, Shane Lowry won the U.S. Open. So I'm sorry, the British Open, which is now the Open. So you have given us some really good information in the past. I'm hoping you're going to do the same thing here. I want to throw it over to my co-host Jon Orlando, also because I know you haven't met Jon yet, but you're going to see him here for the first time, and I know he's just breaking in his golf game.
Yeah, well, first of all, Cayce, I'm going to circle back to you in a second. Bill, I'm looking through my old text messages. I don't seem to see the text about the 80-1 golfer that was going to win, Bill.
That was unbelievable. It was 100-1 over at the Westgate. It's pretty sick that he gave that out.
Yeah, and I didn't seem to get that info from you.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
we'll talk about that later. It's okay.
For guys that need the money like us, Jon.
I see. So, Cayce, I have a question for you. How much, when a guy is having a tough day out there, how much of what you do encompasses, maybe not coaching might not be the right word, but helping him get back on his mental game? Do you do a lot of that as well when you're out there?
Well, it depends on the player. I mean, every player has a different personality. So I think the important thing for all caddies, including myself, is number 1, stay positive, and number 2, just one shot at a time. I mean, let's say your player played a couple bad holes, and you go, "Come on, let's make a few birdies, get going," and you get to going too fast, and then the train wrecks, and then it crashes, and then it burns, and Faldo, I think, back in the day, I remember listening to him, and he was winning and very successful. And it sounds like an elementary cliche, but just one shot at a time, because the adrenaline, Krack and I were talking about, and the excitement of being there can just be so exhilarating that the simplest things, like in sports, like, how about this one? Hey, how about just take a deep breath, and then throw them some water, and then all of a sudden the energy comes back. They look at the flag, they picture their shot, bam, it's next to the flag we made, Bernie, and you're like, all right, boss, let's just keep it going. So the way that you go about it, it's different for every player. Some are grizzly bears, some are teddy bears, some just want you to shut up.
Cayce, now that you say that too, you're right. We were talking earlier this morning, and I want you to tell the viewers, the listeners, how important Thursday is. Listen, what you said earlier was so good. I said you have to say this on air. So how important is Thursday at the Masters?
Well, one thing about Thursday, I mean, everybody's a little bit nervous. Everyone's a little bit jittery. I mean, we got to get started. We got to get off to a good start. We pretty much know where the Thursday spin are. We're warmed up on the range. The weather's going to be what the weather is. And one of the cliches from the Green Jacket Room, the guys that are former winners there, they all have their little club and they talk over the years. And I remember hearing the cliche years ago, you cannot win the Masters on Thursday, but you can lose it.
That is great. That is
that is gold.
Yeah. So if you watch Tiger and watch the great players, like Thursday, there might be a pin in the yardage that just might be you're just licking your chops, but you're a little bit patient. You're not over aggressive. You don't make the mental mistakes. You stay calm and you just bide your time. You shoot that one over or that one under, that even par right around there. And then you get off the first round, you finish it. You go and have lunch, you get to the range, you're like, whew, okay, glad that's over. Now let's go play golf. So the first day is so critical, because if you do shoot yourself in the foot the first day and you go to the range and you start to chase on a golf course that you cannot chase, one thing about going to the Masters, let's say, Krack, you get a job or you're a player. There's one thing about getting an invitation to the Masters. I always said for years, it took me years to realize it, that's half the battle. The other half, now let's go to the Masters and contend and compete. I don't want to be there to sign autographs, to see the fairways and the trees and talk about history. I want to be part of history. So now let's get stuck in there.
Wow, great. That's great. That's great. You've been with these great golfers. I forgot to mention it earlier. John, listen to this list. He has been caddying, or it's called On the Bag, for a countless amount of superstars, like I said earlier, but the actual names are amazing. Payne Stewart, Fred Couples, Ernie Els, Vijay Singh, and of course the great Arnold Palmer. That's right. He sent pictures of caddying for Arnold. Just so cool, man. I love it. But now you mentioned something, though, Cayce. You mentioned something about Tiger Woods. Listen, I'm a gambler. We talk about gambling. This is a gambling podcast too. Wisecracks. I love betting against Tiger Woods. I was so pumped up this morning. One of our sports books in town, Westgate, put up these individual props for and against Tiger Woods. And they actually said, will Tiger finish in the top 5? Will he finish in the top 10? Or will he finish in the top 20? The top 20 was like, you had to lay 2-1. But here I wanted to lay like 5-1. He will not finish in the top 10. And 10-1, he will not finish in the top 5. And you basically told me, I don't like laying against Tiger, even at this age and even at this point in his career. Is that right, Cayce?
Well, the question was proposed to me earlier: can Tiger win? Can Tiger win? Let's say that we were asking Tiger that question this morning. Well, the answer is emphatically, beyond a shadow of a doubt, of course I can win. It's Tiger Woods. I mean, when Jack Nicklaus won in '86, he birdied 9, 10, and 11. Then he went to 15 and eagled 15, birdied 16 and 17. And 86, he put the jacket on. I mean, think of those
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
People don't realize how it sounds like maybe it's just not a big feat. That was a giant feat. Jack, at this time in his career, it was over 100-1. I mean, this is unbelievable. The end of his career.
Yeah, he was done. So look, you leave Tiger in there and give him a sniff, and then he has a chance on Sunday, and then all of a sudden he's hanging in there, and then guys look on the leaderboard, and no offense to the guys that were up there last year, but when the Tiger came creeping up that leaderboard, those names came creeping down, and at the end of the day, Tiger got the jacket. Like it was exciting. And look, history can repeat itself. And as I said to you, there are courses for horses. That horse loves that course.
That's great. That's great.
I mean, look,
I love it.
Look,
Yeah.
Nicholas has 6 jackets. Tiger has 5. I mean, I think Arnold has 4. Mickelson has 3. I mean, think of the Bubba Watson has 2. The guys that are double majors, Ben Crenshaw, Nick Faldo has 3. I mean, these guys don't accidentally win it 3 times or 2 times or 4 times. They love the place. And you know what? If you put the jacket on once, what's better than putting the jacket on once? Putting it on the second time.
Wow. Very good.
I love it.
Yeah. And oh, by the way, it still fits. Oh, now I have 2 jackets.
Right. We know the Masters dominates the TV ratings each year, and it's really the viewing public. It's their favorite event to watch of the year, golf-wise. Me too. I'm glued to the TV. So tell me about it from the perspective of someone who's walked the course in competition so many times. What makes the Masters so special to you, Cayce Kerr, from inside the ropes?
What makes the Masters special to me is the first time I went to the Masters as a kid growing up, I never, ever anticipated I'd be a caddy at the Masters. I mean, watching on TV was the most exciting thing in my life. Well, when I went the second time and then the third time, and it just keeps getting better and better and better. And the members of the Masters, you got to also give them some serious consideration. Every year, what can we do to make it better? What can we do to make it better? What can we do? They always ask how to tweak everything. They're perfectionists. So if you and I have a golf tournament, let's say in California, Vegas, anywhere in the world, we go to the Masters, and the Masters is the criteria of how we're going to run a golf tournament, because theirs is run to perfection. And so when you go to a venue that's that exciting, like if you look on my Instagram, we were talking about it, Cayce.Kerr, Kerr. I put up a photo on Monday of me in the caddy shack with Joe LaCava, a couple other characters in there. It's a black and white photo. Look at that caddy shack. The caddy shack that we have now, we didn't even have a television back then. We barely even had a floor. We had a wooden bench put together with like a hammer and I mean, it was incredible. Now the players hang out in the caddy shack. We got screen TVs, the same food the players eat. I mean, the way that they treat us now is royalty, and the caddies get treated fantastic. And so you gotta applaud the people that run the tournament, and the care and the love that they show to us, remarkable. So that's why you fall in love with it, because they really show you love.
That's great. Cayce, for me, and I'm sure many others, the Masters symbolize the start of the PGA season and the beginning of springtime. The lush grass, the azaleas that are blooming. Now it's teeing off in November, though. Tell our listeners how the course will look a little different, how it could play different this time around. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I was with J.P. Fitzgerald, who caddied for Rory McIlroy last night at dinner, and I asked him that question because not being able to go out there, I said, JP, how is the course different? The grass is Bermuda grass. So Bermuda grass grows in the south, bent grass in the north because of the heat. Well, he said it's grabby, and he said it's going to be a lot more difficult. And so that's probably the number one factor. So chipping will be a little bit more trickier and not as delicate where you'd have that perfect lie, because the grass can grab the club and alter the shot. That was the main thing that JP said. Number two, the course is playing very long. very long. It rained all last night. So that's getting back to your viewers. And the bottom line is let's get to who do we like to win the tournament and who are some of our favorites.
That's my next question. Yeah, because now you're getting into some secret sauce here. I'll tell you right now. You told me some stuff off air this morning, and wow, this is what people come here for. This is what they come to Wisecracks for. Bryson Dechambeau, of course, he's everyone's favorite right now. He's the betting favorite of the week. Not only is he hot, but everyone feels like literally the length will help him dominate. And you're saying it's going this conditions here will probably help his game. So who do you think this weekend maybe we see some value in, or what do you think about Bryson's chances? And in general, like I said, maybe we can come up with a couple long shots for our guys too here.
Well, right off the gate, I've heard the stories. I've read the stories about what he's hitting into some of these holes. And number one, when Tiger won his first Masters, he destroyed the place. As I said earlier, nobody even had a chance on Sunday. I think he won by 12 shots. It was anticlimactic. What Bryson DeChambeau is doing with that golf ball right now, as far as accuracy off the tee and how close he is to his next shot, I do not think that anyone can touch him this week. I really think he's wow. and mentally, you got to look at it this way. He shot 3 under on Winged Foot on Sunday. He wasn't leading. I mean, he had to go out there, play aggressive, and attack it. Now he won the U.S. Open. I can only imagine, think of Mike Tyson in his day where he was just knocking people out. When you have confidence, one thing about confidence, it is powerful. And when you have confidence playing golf, I mean, it's you and the golf course, and you are destroying it. And so right now, I think his mind is just on the golf course. And when you're in the zone, people always ask, how do you get in the zone? How do you stay in the zone? You are completely focused for that time and second in your life only on what you are doing at that particular second. One thing about DeChambeau, he is in the zone. The guy that's under the radar that I think doesn't get any credit or limited credit, I haven't heard anybody speak anything about him. I don't know him that well other than to say hi to him, but I think his caddy and the communication that they share with each other, the dialogue that they have, because, he's an abstract guy. I think he's done a phenomenal job. He hasn't caddied that long, but obviously they have good chemistry, and I only have positive things to say about him.
What makes a good caddy? You talked about Bryson's caddy. What makes a caddy a good caddy? What kind of work goes into it? What makes a caddy the man for his guy?
100%, beyond a shadow of a doubt. What makes a great caddy is having a great player.
Gotcha.
I love that answer.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, Tiger Woods in his prime, no offense to any cat, he could have won with a volunteer. I mean, just carry I love the volunteers. I mean, we need them, but I mean, look, when you're on, you're just on. I mean, it's like a jockey. When you're riding Secretariat, just stay on the horse, please. He'll get you across the line. These guys, I can tell you, and they smell blood. Boy, when they know they're near the top and they're on their game and it's coming down the stretch, let me tell you, they relish you bringing it on. Bring it on, because I want to beat you when you play your best. I don't want to beat you when you don't play your best. I want to beat you when you play your best, because that way I took you down when you were at your best, and I'll take that. That's how they are. They're fierce competitors.
Awesome, man. Listen, great to have you.
That's great stuff.
Thanks for stopping for us and pulling over, and we really appreciate having you on.
Okay, Krack, let's talk about this week's games. I won't be so bold to say this is an easy week, because obviously no week is easy. But with that said, I'd like to see how this one unfolds. I'm going to key in on 3 games as I always do. So let me start off with game number 1. We've got the Ravens versus the Patriots. The line on that game is Patriots +7. We talked about the Patriots last week. They're coming off a comeback against the Jets. The days of this team being feared are long gone. I think the combination of playing Monday night, traveling back to Boston is going to factor in. So I'm looking for the Ravens and former Cowboy Des Bryant to make this game look like a scene from an Alfred Hitchcock movie. Ravens -7 smells like the winner. What are your thoughts, Krack?
Well, the 7's a key number. Make sure you get that. You don't want to go. One of the sports books offshore that I follow, Pinnacle, has 7.5, but everywhere else it's 7. So it's a Sunday night game. Should be lots of action. And if I had to pick anything, I'd probably pick your side, maybe in a teaser. So
okay,
yeah, I like that one.
Okay, moving on to game number 2, we got the Seahawks versus the Rams. Believe the Rams are a slight favorite. I see this one being a nail biter, but I think I've become a Russell Wilson fan. I think this year, I've always respected his game, but I think that stadium is only about 12 minutes away from the Pacific Ocean, and that means the Seahawks are going to be victorious. Krack.
Cool. Well, last week we see the Seahawks got shredded by the Bills, and the Rams had a bye. So I'll tell you right now, my own opinion is this may be the public play of the week with the Seahawks coming back. So let's see what happens with the line here. It's still hanging around the same thing. And this is actually a game that I'm looking forward to maybe even watch. I think it's going to be a really competitive game. And like I said, I think it's going to be a public play by Seattle, by the public. We'll see what happens. And I'm rooting for your side.
Wait, you're going to watch a football game? This is epic.
I think I'm going to watch this one.
Did you watch any games last week?
No.
That's unbelievable.
I watched the end of a game. Hold on.
You watched the end of the Raiders game?
The end of the Raiders game I watched. Yeah. How'd you know that?
Because it was just, you had to. Someone had to be texting you saying to
I did.
put this on.
I watched the end of that game for the last 5 minutes or something. And I'm rooting for my buddy too over there. When if I'm not betting against the Raiders, I'm rooting for my buddy Teddy Atlas. He's the scouting coordinator for the Raiders, so I'm rooting for him.
Were you watching that game in a book by any chance, or were you home?
No.
Oh, so it was insane, and it was really exciting because you really felt like live sports was back because obviously they won on the call. The call got overruled after looking at the replay.
Everyone must have been screaming and yelling both ways.
Yeah, it was insane. So it's funny that we speak of the Raiders. They're back here in Vegas this weekend, our hometown team, and that brings me to game number 3, which is going to be labeled as my street cred game here. Krack, we've got the Broncos versus the Raiders. I don't normally like to bet rivalry games, but since this one is in our backyard, and the Raiders, as you know, are my secondary team to my beloved Dallas Cowboys, I figured it's my civic duty to pick this game as my street cred game of the week. So with that said, even though I have said in the past I love Derek Carr, I think the Broncos defense and Drew Lock, who's improving every week, I really like this kid. I think they're going to come into Vegas and beat the Raiders.
Well, I'll tell you. Listen, they really are beginning to come together each week. They look like a real football team, the Raiders, that is. And if you know the Raiders, when you start to feel good about a team like this is usually when they bite you right in the butt. So 5.5 is kind of an offline too. You don't know what that really. 5's not a key. That's like the worst number in the NFL.
But Krack, I forgot one thing.
Yeah,
I'm taking the money line. In John O fashion.
Okay, good. Well, listen. Honestly, that's I may have to agree with that bet more than disagree. So,
okay.
And I would wait more towards game time even because public money is going to come in on the Raiders. It happens all the time now. People love, they love betting a team like the Raiders that's, winning every week and not every week, but they're coming along here. They beat Kansas City. And so you think about that. If people always say if they beat the Chiefs, man, they got to be able to beat this team. So you look for a better price on a money line on the underdog more towards game time.
So, Krack, it's interesting that you just said that last little tidbit. That leads me to our Twitter questions for the week. We got one question from Wesley. I have trouble reading that there. Wesley Pipes Clayton. Do I have that right?
That was his name. Yeah, that's
wow. Okay, that's a great name, Wesley Pipes Clayton. I love it. Pipes. Okay, so he's asking Bill, how early do you try to get down on games? As soon as the line gets posted, or more towards game time?
Yeah, that's a great question. And this particular year, early Monday mornings, I've been betting a lot of the NFL and college football. You kind of get down early on the games because there's competition for that. There's other syndicate groups. And when I say syndicate, I mean gambling syndicate groups. So you want to try to it's like a race. You try to beat them on getting down. So, yeah, it's a cat and mouse thing with these sports books, and a lot of them don't want to put lines up early because they know groups like myself do that. But yeah, I try to get down as much as I can during when the line first comes out and it's bettable. It comes out on Sunday actually, but literally they take $500 bets. So you want to wait till Monday, you can get a little bit more down. And then maybe towards the game time, I could find some nuggets of value, some low-hanging fruit after the public comes in and pounds these favorites, and I can pick off an underdog or two or, some under money. So that's a good question, though. Thanks, Wesley.
And let me ask you, do you ever go back to, so like if you get down early in the week, do you ever go back to that same game and either double down on it or anything of that nature, or no?
I gotta tell you, and I could be just stubborn and old-fashioned. I'm all about CLV, which is closing line value. So, good question, John. If I'm betting something +7 early in the week, and then it goes down to 6 and 5, and then game time it comes back and it's 7 again. Well, unless it's the public that's sharpening up that line, shaping that line, I should say. I really tend to not bet against other syndicate groups because we all have our ways of handicapping games and coming up against each other. So I won't double dip normally on a game, but I will double dip if you have a slow moving sports book or a square sports book where I know I can get a little bit more if the sharp books are still favoring my position.
Got it. Okay, now I love this next question. I think this is a great question. 100 Round Have asks, at what point did you know this was going to be your career, Krack?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I was in Atlantic City. I was playing a video blackjack machine that had an edge that one of my friends sent me down to play. And the guy next to me, I talk about this all the time, 6'6", glasses, very methodical. He was cupping the rolls of coins. Back then it was coins. It wasn't dollars in and out, or it wasn't ticket in, ticket out. And he started talking to me and telling me about advantage sports betting. This is 26, 27 years ago. So he started talking to me about bookmakers in New York and bookmakers in Philadelphia, how you can middle and scalp. And here I am, literally working 2 jobs and sometimes picking up a 3rd gig on the weekend. Listen, I'm a blue collar guy. I come from a blue collar family. That's what I did. So we worked. We didn't have money for college. Thank God, knock on wood. Because I could never make as much as I made betting sports the last 25 years with any college degree. That's for sure. So anyway, I knew right then that next week I got to be friends with him and we were partners for the next decade. Think about, life is a lot about luck. Just think about that. I'm sitting down at that seat talking to the guy I talked to next to me. If it wasn't for him, he was also an advantage player. If it wasn't for talking to that guy, I would have never been here today and I wouldn't know you, Jon Orlando.
Well, I'm glad that all worked out the way it did. Let me ask you more to your point there. It's now, I think it's kind of changed, right? You doing what you do. It's now, when you started, I mean, I consider you a pioneer at this. I mean, when you started, it was probably frowned upon. You're probably looked at as a almost maybe even a degenerate, where now I think it's different. There's a way more respect for people that do what you do. And was it hard in the beginning, like with your friends and family and how they viewed you when you were doing this?
Oh boy. Absolutely. It's an unbelievable thing that you point out here because, everyone was like, you're a gambler. Oh, no, he gambles. Right. Oh, my God, he's a gambler. And, you got to keep that in the closet. Don't talk about that. You're being a gambler. And even my parents were always very old school, again, blue collar family. They were, you get a job, you get married, you have a couple kids, a white picket fence is your future. You hope to just be the part of the American dream. You're going to gamble? Oh, no, you're gambling. What I try to tell them was, it's not gambling, Mom and Dad. This is not gambling to me. This is going to make me a lot more money than a regular 9-to-5 job listening to a boss over my shoulder will. So, it took a long time, even to this day, a little bit. I get, like, maybe not questioned, but they even probably think to this day, oh my God, At least you made a career of it, but Jesus, it's so scary. You have to put money into action and gamble. I don't even look at it as that. And that's the reason why a lot of gamblers lose, because they do sweat the money so bad and chase and start getting money on their credit cards. Why do you think every one of these casinos has those credit card machines? It's because people chase. They take money out at the end of the night and try to get money off your card or wherever it may be that you shouldn't be using for gambling purposes. So there's no sweat equity. I don't sweat games at all. I never get I really don't get like romanticized by betting sports or anything.
Yeah, I could talk to you about that for days, but we're running out of time here. So I want to remind everybody watching, if you have a question for the Krack Man, shoot us a message on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, wherever you're consuming the show, and we'll try to get to those questions. And that also reminds me, Krack, I got to do it one more time. If you don't mind, I got to remind everybody at home, download the Krack Wins app. Okay. It's helped my game. It's helped tons of the friends of mine that I've turned on to this app. Shout out to Johnny Cocktails in LA. I'll even give him a shout out. I've got a lot of friends that are making a lot of money off the Krack Wins app. It's got all the information you need in it. Download it today.
Well, great. Thank you. Yeah, we have the app. We also have crackwins.com. And listen, good luck to everybody. Also, remember, don't forget this. Go to WSN. Check out all their content. Great stuff there. Also, we're on YouTube. And tell us what you think. What you think of me? What you think of John? What do you think of Vegas? What do you think of Wisecracks? So, all right, guys, great. Appreciate it. We had a great show today, and look forward to see you guys next time.
Yeah, this one flew by, but we'll do it again next week, Krack.
Awesome.